Thank you, Mr. Harakopoulos. So, since we're talking about technology, and the question is there a case for Greece? It's rhetorical. Yes, technology should be applied, and actually, I'm organizing an energy panel with Eastern Mediterranean Business Culture Alliance on December 11th, and the title is "Being Sustainable and Green in an Unstable World." So, and I'm sure we all know the situation around us. Not so long ago, I was participating in an Academy of Athens seminar about Greek energy independence. And a good friend in one of our conversations said, "It's really simple. What do we need? The plan is simple. I want to go to the wall, press the button, have the light comes on. I want to be able to pay the bill every month. And I want for me and my children to have clean water and clean air." I think that was one of the most succinct and direct uh, um, descriptions of the situation. We hear a lot of stories about what should be done and how we decarbonize. And one of the um, areas we're involved as OASIS Carbon Management Group is uh, presenting the technology of carbon capture, utilization, and storage. We have uh, we have started. Uh, the group have started in the United States about 5 years ago, but altogether we have about close to 200 years of experience in the energy sector. Uh, we bring carbon dioxide management technologies to commercial deployment and develop strategies that stimulate investment necessary for promoting and achieving the green transition. OASIS has experience in identifying incentives and barriers, and that's step number one in everything that needs to be done, and that can accelerate or prevent commercial projects, develop practices and actions, and sorry about the noise over here, and engage local communities in performing job creation and skills development studies and pathways. Decarbonization, or we call it delignitization in Greece, and Greece is maybe the only place in the world that uses delignitization as a term, has been taking place in Greece for some years now. If one takes into account the dramatic reduction of the lignite use from 63% in 2004, would cover most of our energy needs, to 18% in 2019, to 6 to 8% nowadays. And of course, a proportional reduction in emissions from using it in the power plants. In about 2017, it was about 5 years ago, we proposed to the energy ministry at the time to do a study regarding the operation of PPC, or we call it ZEI in Greek, efficient, uh, most efficient and new lignite power units, Ptolemaida Pende, and examine the scope of using lignite beyond the termination deadline that was put at the time of 2028, and study the idea of using CCUS. Uh, just to give an idea, CCUS is a technology for the people that don't understand that through the chemistry, and we capture the CO2 that comes from the burning of fossil fuels, or from a burning of anything. Anything that burns creates pollution, even our barbecue in the backyard. It burns wood. So, but the big industrial customers like PPC, for example, in one plant, even at the new Ptolemaida 5, the carbon CO2 output is almost 3 million tons. So there are even other carbon management technologies today that are emerging at an accelerated pace. pace, but they are still in the demonstration level and require further development to achieve commercial scale development. CCUS, however, is well tested and proven at scale, and is now well integrated in many national and regional carbon management plans, and its application includes power generation, as well as using CO2 that is produced for industrial productions and applications. CCS, carbon capture, utilization, and storage, as I said before, involve the capture of CO2 from fuel combustion in industrial processes, and then the CO2, or the oxidio, as we call it in Greek, is compressed and transported via a ship or pipeline to a location where the CO2 can be used as a resource to create valuable products or services, or can be permanently stored in deep geological formations that can act as safe storage reservoirs. As of now, the use of CO2 produced is of limited amounts, for limited amounts, so the solution is burying the CO2. The also CCS technologies provide the foundation of carbon removal or a negative emission for the production of blue hydrogen, many bio-based processes, or in smaller case, direct capture of CO2 from the atmosphere, or they call it direct air capture. Carbon dioxide can be transformed into many new products in the chemical industries, such as synthetic fuels, methanol, fertilizer, plastic, and it's also a basic ingredient in the food industry. If we remember correctly, Britain faced a big problem with the preservation of its meats but 8 months ago, because they didn't have enough CO2. And CO2 is added to all the soft drinks, that has bubbles that we have, from Coca-Cola to Suroti and to everything else. So it's also CO2 can be used for enhanced oil recovery, although the latest being a controversial issue for the European Union. And what enhanced oil recovery means is injecting CO2 into the oil wells and gas wells and enhance the lifespan of the wells. Achieving the goals of the Paris Agreement and limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius will necessitate a removal of huge volumes of CO2 from the atmosphere to achieve net zero. As a result, the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe has required all of its participating countries, including Greece, to deploy zero carbon and negative carbon technologies to capture 90 gigatons. And that's a huge number. Dr. Kalokerinos can explain that better than I can. By 2050, to meet the objective of the Paris Agreement and the 2030 Agenda for the Sustainable Development. We have brought significant experience as Oasis in creating diverse partnerships in the past specific to a project in question, by encompassing and engaging private and government entities and academic and research institutions. In addition, we firmly believe on best practices with regards to transparency, public disclosure, and outreach. We have had many, worked with the Department of Energy and with many international organizations on CCS, including the Norway CCS Committee, and participated in significant research and development projects on all aspects of CCS. I've worked with major companies and government organizations, and one of the projects, the one we proposed to the or PPC at the time, was actually to create a CCS project as a public-private partnership. There are currently a number of active carbon management projects funded by the private and public sectors, including industrial CCS applications for CO2 emissions, matching CO2 sources and sinks, And carbon sink, Greece could be actually one of the, it is one of the biggest and valuable carbon sinks in Europe. Direct air capture applications that we said before and planning, geologic characterization towards carbon safe storage, methane emissions detection and control using drones, carbon credits via offsets and avoided emissions, emission reduction in fossil production and distribution system could be very interesting, since now we've restarted a conversation about drilling for fossil fuels in Greece, and reducing emissions in the mining sector. Some of the team members also working with governments and industry in assessing current national infrastructure and future needs for enabling deployment of green technologies at scale and promoting hydrogen production for blue and green hydrogen. Strengthen climate goals and new investment incentives can provide significant momentum for CCS. There are plans for more than 100 new facilities in 2021. However, although recent progress is encouraging, the planned pipeline of projects would fall well short of delivering the 1.7 billion tons of CO2 capture capacity that needs to be deployed by 2030 in the net zero scenario. That will create, according to ExxonMobil Corporation, almost $4 trillion market by 2050 for capturing carbon dioxide and storing it underground. For Greece, our country, the current situation of our controlled high prices of carbon and of also the different crises that have risen in the last 2 or 3 years, from the pandemic to the Ukraine situation now, natural gas and energy dependence makes the case of CCS imperative to study and apply. The CCS pattern could be employed at Greece's new state-of-the-art lignite plant, Ptolemaida 5, which costs to the Greek taxpayers close to 1.4 billion euros, provided the operation of the coal-fired units is allowed to continue beyond 2028. Because as we'll understand, an infrastructure project cannot be paid off in 5 or 10 years. You need at least a 25-year horizon to do this. The application of carbon capture combined with modern burning technologies will lead to a positive environmental footprint and a production cost that will be lower than that of modern natural gas-fired plants. The country really, our country, does not lack in performance compared to other countries. On the contrary, it finds itself among the countries that have advanced their decarbonization, having started years ago. The application of CCS, and CCS is not just for power plants, it's also for refineries, for cement plants, and all of these other industries that will start paying carbon taxes beginning of 2025, which we'll all understand that this is today, actually, it's not even tomorrow. So the application of CCS would give a competitive edge to Greek products produced in Greece, and will give regional and local communities the opportunity to create jobs, strengthen the economy, and increase and create an energy safety net, while saving resources thanks to the investment in domestic production, energy with low CO2 emissions, and disassociating economic development from these emissions, and providing a portion of the clean energy the economy needs to grow now. I hope you're still with me after this. I try to make it as less technical as possible, that for people, to understand. But this is one of the technologies today that we can use in Greece to actually.
Sorry, Mr. Drougos. You have 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes to conclude, because
I have concluded.